everybody, it's Sea Witch in Seattle back again. Today we're talking about a topic that is not necessarily pagan, but if you consider the notion that all life is sacred, then we're sort of transcending that line in the sand, and we're just going to be talking about something really important. However, if you're one of those people that just is adamant about the fact that animals are put on this earth for whatever reason, for whatever religion or whatever, to be of use to humans, and you just don't care and you don't want to listen to it, you're already like getting uncomfortable by the stuff I'm saying, just hit X right now, because I'm not even going to acknowledge troll comments on this video because it's so important. I just don't care what you have to say that's negative about it because it's important. Okay, so let's actually talk about what we're going to talk about today. Let's introduce the topic. So since I've been a little kid, I have been obsessed with cetaceans. Obviously, it's sort of something that maintains a presence over here because if you go to any tourist place, there are like orcas on everything. Orcas on cups, orcas on t-shirts, it's just everywhere. Orcas come into like right into the downtown area, and there's like specific helicopters that'll go out there to film them from overhead, or drones, to get there to show like if they've had new calves. So they kind of maintain a mega presence over here. I don't know if I really got obsessed until I went up to the little northern tip of Washington, which is like awesome beach and forest and amazingness. Kind of touched on that before. But yeah, I don't know. I just went out there and I fell in love. I fell in love with cetaceans. I fell in love with all marine creatures. And so I started getting obsessed with marine biology. So today we're going to be talking about captive orcas, specifically the little guy named Tilikum. Why would this have anything to do with where I'm from? I'm from the Pacific Northwest, if you can't already tell from my YouTube name. And the Pacific Northwest is a place where we're basically really rich in marine life in the estuary called the Puget Sound. And there's a place called Pin Cove up here. And it's the place where a lot of orcas were stolen from the sea. I don't know if a lot of people watch nature documentaries, but there's one called Blackfish. I don't know if you remember, there's like this little beach area in Washington State where they had nets and they captured like like a mom and her like baby orcas, and then some of the orcas died like right there, and it was like this horrible travesty. Yeah, so that's basically where I'm from, and everybody here is really mad about it. From what I've seen, like that is just unacceptable, and people are really active in activism because they don't want to ever see that happen on our shores or any other shores again. But it's really just something that's in the forefront of our mind. We have tons of what was it? We have another area that's on Whidbey Island. A lot of this is on Whidbey Island, by the way. So if you're from this area, you'll be like, yep, that's where it's from. But there's like a whale belt in one area where there's lots of gray whales that pass this like in this inlet area. So every year they have a whale day, and they'll go out and they'll ring the bell if they see whales and stuff. So people will go ring that bell if they see something, and everybody will run outside. We also have this like thing called Orca Network where you can go online and find out where they are and then drive to see them. I've done it a few times, and a lot of times actually, and ironically, they're in Pin Cove, which is sad because it's like they keep coming back there. But like if people were still capturing, it's just like, don't go there. It's just so like, I don't know, it just holds all those strong memories and rawr. But anyway, so it's really important. And people that say that killer whales and that humans are this master race and they're like the divine race, and they're here to use animals as they see fit because they're not intelligent. They just are animals. People who say that creatures don't think are really stupid, in my opinion. No tea, no shade, but y'all are stupid. I've been floored by that, because if you go, this is just a suggestion, and you're probably going to hear crazy wind because there is a huge storm outside. Just FYI. Okay. Where was my brain going with this? Oh, okay. So there's this gorgeous place called Friday Harbor at the tip. Okay, so you go to Whidbey Island, right? And you're at the you're like at the tip. This is for people who live here. The whole video isn't, but just this little tidbit. Get on the Friday Harbor Ferry, and then you go up. It's like an hour up into this little island called Friday Harbor, as I said, and it's fucking sweet. It's amazing. They have a whale museum there, and it is the coolest freaking museum I've ever been to in my life, and it's just amazing. They have humongous whale bones from like that have naturally been acquired. So like if a whale is beached over here, they'll take it and then they'll put it in like this weird little bin thing, and they'll let microbes and like microorganisms clean the bones, and then they'll pull the buckets back out of the ocean, and then they'll put them up. So they have like full whale skeletons, like a country person. Anyway, they have full orca skeletons up there that have just been naturally cleaned by different microorganisms. So it's really interesting. Totally an awesome place to go. But my point is, if you go there, one of my favorite things, and I remember like it was literally my favorite part of the entire museum, is that they have like, okay, they have a bunch of stuff that people might think is gross. It's like in formaldehyde, like preserved stuff, like preserved cetacean stuff. Bodies and skeletons and shit like that. Okay, but the thing that they have that's really cool is in like a box, whatever, they have a human brain. Yeah, I don't know, some people might not like that, but anyway, they have a literal human brain, so it's like this big, right? So it's down here. And then they have a whale brain, and it's like huge. It's like a fucking giant thing. And so when people are like, oh yeah, like animals don't matter because they can't think and they can't speak, it's stupid. Because cetaceans have been proven to speak different languages. They have different dialects. So that's why it's bad if you take a Pacific Northwest orca, which we call Biggs, like a Biggs orca, which is the transient, or a resident orca. They have different languages, and they put them because of the region, by the way. Okay, sorry. That didn't make sense. So we got like the Biggs and which is big / transients and residents are over here. And then like if you take like 2 or 3 Icelandic orcas who are a completely different type of orca, like they're completely different no matter what, like depending on the region. You put them in the same tank, they don't speak the same language. So they often will get really frustrated and they'll start fighting each other. So I don't know if you've seen this horrific picture. I'm not going to post it, but you can look it up. There's a whale that has like her face like carved out because they had done that. They had stuck whales from different regions. Of course they're going to fight, like, because they're frustrated and can't communicate correctly, and so they're not really understanding what they're doing. So it's just okay, but the real reason I'm making this video is very important to me. I'm getting the stats. This is really important to me. Okay. So, there's this awesome whale, my favorite whale on the planet, named Tilikum. Yay. Okay. He is a huge fucking whale. He weighs 12,000 pounds. Like, can you imagine? Like, holy crap. And he's like 22 feet long. He's just humongous. And he has been basically fucked around with his entire life. I think they acquired him in like Reykjavik or something. And they put him in a really tiny swimming pool while they were like training him. So he was already pissed. Imagine like somebody like taking you, like an alien picks you off the street and then puts you in a closet and they just is like, go in there and do some tricks. Like, okay, you're like, oh, this animal doesn't know. He just thinks it's fun. He just thinks it's cute. No, they're wild animals, and they like swim thousands of miles a day, and you're saying, here, go into this closet and just like, you're good. Don't worry about it. Swim around. It's all chill. No. It's not really going to be chill. They're probably going to get a little agitated. So this whale had been like moved around several times, put in small tanks. And they actually like, I don't know how to say this in like a family friendly way, but they basically like fapped him off, like the trainers, to keep him breeding, which is disgusting. And he's been like the father of like 23 calves, I think. yeah, anyway, and so he also has been a little violent towards humans. I feel like you've probably seen the videos of him being pissed off because he gets kind of angry sometimes and murders people. However, I don't know. I know people are gonna be mad that I'm justifying that, but it's like if you throw something in a closet that's supposed to be like moving and active, and you take them away from their family, you kill their family. Because whales are like weird, and so are dolphins. All like sort of cetaceans. If like somebody's depressed in their like pod and like commits suicide because they do not control their breathing like we do. Like we just breathe automatically, but they have to like really like pay attention and breathe. So they can just like hold their breath and kill themselves, you know. Which is great. That's sarcasm. But then like people the other whales and cetaceans and porpoises and whatever will get so sad and upset that they will all beach. That's like a common reason why they'll beach. So I mean they're like feeling creatures. They have feelings. Lots of feelings. And they're just taking them away and throwing them in a tank. And so yeah, he's gotten mad a few times. And even so, they still won't just release him. So what they did was the last time that he got mad at somebody, they just like picked him up and put him in like the small, like one of these like tiny ass tanks in the back. So basically, he just sits there by himself. And I don't know if anybody here has spent a lot of time alone, but the latter half of last year and the beginning of this year, I spent basically every day alone, and I was going fucking crazy. So I can kind of see why he got mad because they just didn't care for him properly. Anyway, the real point of this video is the fact that now Tilikum is dying, and SeaWorld is saying they've released like this PSA video, and it's all about how we are taking the best care of Tilikum that we can, and he's gonna be delightful, and if he dies, we're gonna have a hole in our heart, but we're really like working hard to keep him going and all this stuff. And okay, something else really quick. SeaWorld has this really shitty habit of like telling people lies when they're there, and they're like, oh, they live longer when they're in captivity. No, they don't. They do not live longer, and they often get sick from bacterial infections. So that's kind of what happened to Tilikum. Now he's got like a lung problem, and yeah, so now he's dying. And what's funny, and I think the real reason I'm making this video is because it makes me so mad, is that okay, so Facebook had that as a like a trending thing, and of course my ass like clicks it right away because I was like, oh my god, something's happening to Tilly. Yeah, they are like filtering the comments, and I feel like they've hired like 4 or 5 people with fake Facebook accounts to sit around and talk about how great SeaWorld is, or they like just used 5 people's like reviews, I guess. And anytime someone puts something bad about it on there, they immediately delete it. So they're not like really being fair. They're just kind of like monopolizing the comments and not really letting people say anything. Even people that aren't activists, people that like aren't that crazy about it, who even if they just say whales shouldn't be in captivity, bam, they will like hone in on it and delete it. But if you go to any of the other sources, so if you click on the trending, the Facebook thing, so it has all the SeaWorld drop down, and everybody's like, oh yeah, Tilikum was great. I remember going to see him, and he's been around for a long time, so if he has to die, like, oh, I'm sorry, but blah, 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 blah. Okay, but then you go to, like, another one, so it'll be like, global news, Tilikum is dying at SeaWorld, and you go in the comments, everything's negative. So it's people who are like, these baby animals shouldn't be in captivity, or, oh, hey, you put, a fucking huge creature in a bathtub, and of course they're gonna die. They're all like really like, oh, you should have let him go after he had that incident with the trainer back in the day. That I think it was theirs too, in fact. But yeah, I really love Tilikum. I remember when I was a kid, there was an arcade next to my grandpa's jewelry store, and I would go to the arcade, and I won this orca, and I named him Tilikum. Just for reference, by the way, Tilikum is older than me. He is, I think, 33 now. Yeah, and I just so wish that even if they can't like completely release him, if they could make like a pin in the ocean so he could actually like breathe his own air or just be more comfortable, because clearly they're not gonna just let him go to just do what he's got to do in nature. They're gonna like lord over him and put more chemicals in his body and cause more pain. And it's not like the first orca to have problems. Like I said, there's an orca that had her whole like jaw almost ripped out. Um, there's an orca named Kondu, and she had a baby in a tank, and she started bleeding out in the tank one day, like in front of her baby during a live show, and they like just kept like they kept doing the tricks. They didn't like put her in the back and like take care of her. My point being, they do not take care of the animals that they have, so don't believe their lies and like check your sources. If you're like, oh, I love SeaWorld, blah 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 blah, just at least check the other side. Watch Blackfish. It's really something you should watch. You should watch The Cove. It's also something you should really watch. And Racing Extinction is also something that you should really watch. Yeah. But there's another whale named Lolita, and she's from the Pacific Northwest. So she's from here. And she's one of the ones that was captured unfairly. I believe she's from Penn Cove. She's in like the smallest tank in the United States, and it's disgusting. It's really sad and horrible. And that's like our mission right now, is getting her out of that fucking tank, or like at the very least fixing it, because SeaWorld was like, okay, well, we're not gonna let these animals go, but we're gonna stop breeding them, and we're gonna make huge tanks with ocean water and like actual like making it bigger and more realistic. I'm not entirely happy with the situation, but I'm glad that they're at least taking like a tiny step forward. Man, I've ranted for 17 minutes, guys. I'm sorry. I just really needed to talk about this. So important. Yeah, so just pay attention to the headlines, because they're really just representing this whole situation in a terrible way. And this poor orca has lived this sad life. I mean, like, the way that they trained him was that if he didn't do a trick right, they would like starve him. So, I mean, he's just doesn't like humans, and he, I guess, has that right. I wouldn't like humans. I don't even like humans now, so, I'm a human and I don't even like us. Horrible species. But yeah, okay, I've kind of like rambled now. I'll probably stop. I didn't even brush my hair before this video, so I hope you enjoyed my rant. And if you have something that's not like just rude to say, because I know that people like really hate environmentalists and ocean conservationists, please leave in the comment. You can put negative, like, okay, let me elaborate. You can put your negative thoughts about what I have to say in there, but I mean, I'm just saying, if you're gonna just be a douche and just want to fight, don't bother. But yeah, I want to know what you thought about this video. It kind of was all over the place, but that's sort of how I work. But I hope that it all made sense to you guys, and I hope you're having a great day. It's raining outside, so I'm kind of excited. There's a huge windstorm, and I gotta get ready for work, so I'm gonna go, and I hope you're having an awesome day. Boom.